Well, good morning and welcome to Mayor's Weekly. We're here at City Hall on the last days of July, and summer is defined by the time that our young folks are out of school is drawing to a close. I'll be head back in a couple of weeks or maybe just a little bit longer, and as summer, as I described, winds down across a lot of the South, you see municipalities that have festivals of some sort to celebrate the summer and call attention to their towns and cities, and certainly we have ours, and one that we're extremely proud of, and one that will measure up nicely anywhere you want to take it, and that's our Foothills Festival. And joining me this morning is Brent McCarver, who has played a key role in taking Foothills to where it's at today, and we have seen a tremendous upswing in quality, quantity, any way you want to size up Foothills, and this year I think we'll take the era even on a steeper climb, because we know that we have a big festival underway, and lots of pieces, Brent. Nobody knows it better than you, and this is not some sort of hootenanny you sit down on Monday and and have it on Friday. It doesn't work that way. Planning for next year's Foothill will start the day after this one ends. But Brent, just a little overview of the work. I know we have one of our bright young employees, Caitlin Schultz, has come on as our special events coordinator and helping you and bring it together. So just a little overview of where we're at, and then what was September 11th, is that right?
10th and 11th.
10th and 11th. So, a couple of weeks in September, 4 weeks in August. So, we're 7 or 8 weeks away, aren't we?
Yes, sir. We're right at about the 7-week mark. Caitlin and I we meet every Wednesday morning. We start first part of July doing that, and we met yesterday to go over finalizing some things like, there's a lot of, I guess you'd call it, organizational stuff that goes into it. We lining up, ordering restrooms. We have the large trailer that has handicap accessible restrooms. We have to line that up several weeks in advance, make sure we've got it. Jasper Waterworks and Sewer Board, huge help to us. We met with them last week, and they help us hook things up to water and our vendors, and we have to line up the logistics of that. And we've got light plants, we call them light towers, that we bring in. We order some additional ones to add to what the police department already has to light some of our areas downtown. We have to line those things up. This year, everyone will be excited. I guess we're going to add an additional cooling station. We've had 4 areas along the Foothills footprint where you could stop, and we had water and those misting fans, big fans that blow the cool water out, table and chairs and things like that. We're adding a 5th one this year, so we've got more to stop at. It's generally been pretty warm, humid, and so we had to line those up.
I hope we need them. I hope
it's not raining.
We don't have cooling coming from the heavens.
You're exactly right. Yes, sir. You're exactly right. With the rain, I guess we're in day 8 if we have some today, consecutive rain. So maybe it'll move on out by September. But yes, that's a lot of those little logistical things that really start piling up on you right now. Of course, Lisa Myers had been the events coordinator for the whole time I've been here, and she got the opportunity to take a new position, and I'm glad for her. It was good for her. But Caitlin's brand new, and literally dropped in right as Foothills kicked off, and so was no learning curve for her. She had to hit the ground running, and she's done a really good job. That's one thing. I think the COVID impact from last year is still affecting festivals. Of course, there's talk now and whether we have a variant and what we're going to do, but we're down a little bit in our vendor numbers, and what we're finding out, a lot of them that normally have been before, unfortunately, either aren't in business anymore. They didn't make it through the 2020, or a good example, a strong food vendor we've always had is based out of the Tuscaloosa area. They don't travel outside of the city of Tuscaloosa right now. So that's based on their coronavirus decision, and they're still not traveling outside. So, there's some things there. But yeah, everything's rolling along, and our social media numbers are great, so it looks like we'll have a very good festival again.
Well, Brent, one thing about it, and that's certainly understandable about the vendors. As you well know, I'm not a TV person. I read, and I think the impact of COVID is really being revealed now. As you see people that didn't make it, or it had weakened to the point that they died in recent times, and just couldn't ever get back up on a level plane, and or get back up on a plane, I should say. And but it'll be a great Foothills, and nobody gets shortchanged at Foothills because it doesn't cost anybody a penny, does it?
That's right. Only the city of Jasper. That's right.
Now,
no, it is free.
Let's talk about what it takes to put on Foothills. Yeah. And you have entertainment, and you have labor costs, and I want to talk about security in a minute as well. But what we know today, and we have a detailed budget. We stick to that budget. We know our two sources of funding. It's from the private sector, right, and an allocation from the city. Yes. The private sector has been very, very good to support this. Yes. We've seen new contributors in that arena this year, haven't we? And it seems that interest continues to grow. But what we know today, and this is going to be fairly accurate, to do Foothills, it's going to cost $190,000. Mm-hmm. Now, we were talking about coming together Friday afternoon, Friday evening, Friday night, all day Saturday, and into the evening time. Right. Then $190,000 to pay for this talent and do all the things that you do. And I would, if you have any questions, I'd ask you to look around and see if you find that in a city of 14,000 people. I don't think you'll find it. And what I can tell you, it's paid for. We're not running any deficit with the city. The money is there, and when the lights go out Saturday night, we'll clean up. The vendors will go home. The talent will go home, whatever, and we won't get up on Sunday morning looking at debt for what we've done. Well, it's all taken care of.
Everything is taken care of. Since we restructured it in 2017, the focus has really been on adding, or at least partnering with the community and the private sector more and more.
Yeah.
And they've done that. We have maintained from the city $60,000 has always been what the council has allocated since I've been involved, and that hasn't changed. The budget, as far as entertainment and the growth of the festival, the things that are involved, has, and of course, just with time, inflation or whatever. Well, it's not inflation, but prices rise. But at the end of the day, the private sector has added every year. The private sector has either had new members come on. They have seen it. Businessmen and women in town have looked at it as a good investment and increased and think it's a good thing. So, it's roughly, when you talk about paying your labor force, again, the things, we buy toilet paper that we don't normally buy that weekend for the restrooms, little things like that. You really are looking at a pretty large investment for the weekend. However, it's not like we're borrowing money, and it's not like it's not money that, the council has budgeted their investment, and everything above that 60 is raised from outside.
Brent, we don't, you and I have talked about this, we don't talk in the specifics about security, but
right.
We've had some folks come on that, not that we had any weaknesses or that sort of thing in previous years' security, but they've come on and qualified and said what they do for a living, whatever, to bring enhancements to security. And so I think that our security for this event will be better than ever.
Oh, yeah,
And-
should be. We do have a private, again, a private firm.
We have a firm.
Interested.
It's going to be better.
Yeah.
And, I never talk about our strategy and law enforcement or whatever, because most likely the folks are going to give you trouble or listening, and they don't need to know
True.
your game plan. But what I can tell you is you can come to Foothills and feel like you're safe as you
sure.
can be. Can we
Yeah.
guarantee you that we won't have some sort of incident? You can't. And that takes me to the number of people that show up here. You hear all sorts of numbers. I never figured out how you measured that. But I could look at it in my simple way of seeing things. I could tell there's a bunch of folks out
That's
there.
right.
A bunch of folks out there. And you came upon some data that credible data about the number of folks here the year before last, because we didn't have one last year.
Right. If anyone's familiar with the term geofencing, it basically, and I think several Mayor's Weeklies back, you had the opportunity to talk about some data you had from Walmart and Home Depot and
Yeah.
how we knew how many shoppers had come
Yeah.
in. Geofencing basically takes your cell phone, and I'm not smart enough, Lanny's grinning because he understands it, but the IP address and the different things for your cell phone, and it can tell different phone numbers in a parking lot, for example. If you had 500 people there and there were 500 different cell phones, this geofencing data would put 500 there. And it gives you a very good idea of at least how many phone IP addresses were in a given area. You basically put a pin and give a range there. This data from most credible source we could ask for puts the 2019 weekend at a total of 21,600 people. So what that means is we know that during that weekend, now obviously there could have been a little less, could have been a little more. For example, I actually have a personal and a city phone, so that would put 2 phones there if I were there.
Yeah.
But roughly we know that there was 21,000 people in the downtown area, and the dot was the stage. So it's
Yeah.
around that stage, Friday and Saturday of 2019. That'd be September 6th and 7th. But some more data that's really makes me feel good, exciting, is they also break it down. That IP address, that IP number has an address, physical address. It's the bill it's sent to. We actually know for a fact that we have more than 300 people that were from more than 250 miles away. So that's what the whole point of Foothills is people that would never come here, never go to Tallulah, or never go to Los Reyes, or never go to Berners. They come in and see Jasper. And, we've talked a lot in the past about how we do interact with some of those in social media, and they ask for hotels. But now we know there were at least 300 IP addresses that were there were at least 250 IP addresses from 300 miles away. So we're real excited about that.
Let's put 21,000 people in perspective. We're going to make the assumption, I never have had much confidence in the U.S. Census. There's just too many ways that information could be flawed or deficient, whatever. And I understand we have to do it, but there's been talk at times Jasper's losing population, and our sales tax revenues are all-time high, traffic counts at all-time high, and those kind of things refute the loss of population.
Yeah.
But let's assume that Jasper has 14,000 people, and I don't think that's an unreasonable assumption. The census is going to come close to supporting that. That's every man, woman, and child in Jasper, plus 50% more folks showing up at Foothills. What we are beginning to talk about is if it continues to grow, and we hope it does, where do you hold such an event?
Right.
I mean, it's packed, and downtown gives it the buck of its flavor. And
Yes.
But we work through that, and if it were double in size, we'll figure that out. But that's a challenge that has to be ongoing, and how you would manage that. But that's a good problem.
That is a wonderful
Good problem.
Yeah.
But what I say is we look forward to it. I do hope it rainy days are maybe behind us. We normally at Foothills have extremely hot weather. We can't change that, but I think I could tolerate the extremely hot weather better than I have in years past, simply because all the rain this year has really curtailed some of my activities.
Exactly.
And but we can't change that. But we're excited about it. Our group of folks here at the city that bring this together do an excellent job, and they're working diligently now to ensure that we have crisp execution with Foothills, and the day for Foothills will be here before we know
It's
it.
coming. It's coming.
That's right. Brett, I appreciate you joining me this morning, and a chance we may talk about it again before September 10. But if you have questions about Foothills or anything else relating to the city, please let us hear from you.